Can you tell me what do you think about the labor union protests in Wisconsin?
Well, first of all, I'm very much in support of the people exercising their democratic right to go out and have their voices heard. I'm very much in support of that. So that's that. It makes me feel good to see that. Now, because over the last couple of weeks we've seen that in the Middle East, whether it be Tunisia or Egypt, and so to now to see the American people doing it a little bit more, outside of the Tea Party, which I applaud my brothers and sisters in the Tea Party also. But just to see it happening more on American soil is great. Okay. But when I'm watching it in the media and we're having this conversation, I think there's something's missing. And what is missing is there's not a true understanding of what some of these politicians are saying when they say they're capitalists, and they're talking about capitalism. Now, and if you look at the true definition of capitalism is an economic system in which the means of the production are privately owned and operated for private profit. So the big thing is they're doing this thing for profit, right? So when we have a conversation about profit, right, because if you understand that to be theoretically capitalist is to be about profits, right? The equation for profits is revenue minus expenses equals profit. Yeah. Right? Exactly. So to be pro-profit, you have to be anti-expenses because expenses are the #1 enemy of profits. Exactly. Okay. So once you get to that point, you say, okay, I'm a capitalist, I'm pro-profits, that means I'm anti-expenses. Now what? Well, the next step is, what is the #1 driver of expenses?
I mean, you're talking about labor.
Talking about labor costs. I mean, it's just that pure and simple. Okay, so you have to be one to drive labor costs low because to be a capitalist. The purest sense of the theoretical form. So you're saying, okay, I'm a capitalist, I'm pro-profits, I'm anti-labor. The #1 driver of expenses, I'm anti-expenses, So they're going to want to drive the labor expenses down, right? Down to what? Optimally, they'll say down to zero. Because it's the #1 driver of expenses. Well, if you drive labor costs down to zero, we have a name for that in American lexicon.
Don't tell me it's slavery, is it?
Yeah, it's slavery. Right. We're talking about slavery.
Yeah.
So these people who have professed themselves to this capitalist mantra are saying, hey, we want labor costs all the way down to basically zero. So if you're an employee right now and you're collecting a wage and you've elected someone who is pro-capitalism in all its forms, yes, they want you to own your own private property. Yes, they want you to own your own house, right? Yes, they would like to open up the markets to freedom, Yes, they're pro-competition. But remember, they are also pro-slavery. Because they've got to be pro-slavery because labor costs is the #1 driver of expenses, right? I mean, that's like Jimmy Johnson's the #1 driver of the Dallas Cowboys. So if you're a Washington Redskins fan, you've got to be anti-Jimmy Johnson. Yeah. You cannot be pro-Jimmy Johnson and have the same thing. Or Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones. I'm thinking Jerry Jones. One of those guys over there. But, okay, so we have a situation where you are pro-capitalism, anti-labor costs. So they don't want the unions in. Because the unions are trying to either maintain labor wages or promote wages. Because the unions have two-trick pony. Yeah. They want higher wages, and they want benefits. And benefits, the major benefit is healthcare insurance. Yeah. So here we have the unions, and then we have all these states out here, and mainly it's Republican governors. They are anti-union. So we have a state like South Carolina. South Carolina wants to, they have the 6th largest unemployment rate in America. And what they want to do, they want to tell companies, okay, we want you in here, but we don't want you if you have a union. Well, when you have when you're 6 in unemployment, right, you should want any company to come in, hire your citizens, bring them aboard, bring those resources in, because you're in desperate need, especially with this type of economy and recession that we're going through. But however, this governor says, yeah, we want your company, but you can't bring the company if you're pro-union. And they're disguising that behind right to work. I'm a pro-right to work person. I'm very much pro-right to work. But let's have a real conversation about right to work. Right to work means that the employees can choose whether they can be in the union or not. If they decide not to be union, they can do that without any reprisal, and the government will back their decision, back that choice. I'm for that. But right to work does not mean anti-union.
So you're not opposed to union?
I'm not opposed to the union. Okay? I'm not pro-union either. I mean, if you look back on my record, what I was saying about health care insurance, when Obama was trying to push through health care insurance socialization, I was pro-health care insurance socialization. Why? Because it takes away an arm of the union. Right? So I figured, okay, we can get this in, and then maybe we won't need the unions as much as we do now. But healthcare went kaput. We've got quasi privatization of healthcare.
Okay.
So, but this idea, and I want people to understand me clear. This idea of your politicians going around saying we're capitalists, we're pro-capitalism, to be pure pro-capitalism is to be anti-working class people. They want your wages down. They don't want your wages up. Because in order for them to be pro-capitalist, they have to be pro-profit. In order to be pro-profit, you have to be anti-expenses, anti-labor costs.
So what do you think about the outcome of the people when they hear this about they basically want slavery? They're not trying to pay anyone anything. They're paying. You say they want to pay everyone to basically nothing.
Well, hopefully they will bring their politician to task when they come out there and say, "Oh, we're pure capitalists." Look, I am. If you look onto all my body of work, I'm a conservative, and I believe in capitalism and business to some extent. I'm not a pure capitalist, and I will be upfront with you. I'm very pro-profit to a point, because I do understand that to be pro-profit all the way is to drive down expenses, drive down labor costs, drive down your benefits, and then we're basically putting our people, the citizens of America, back into slavery situations that we had in the past. That's not the America I want to live in. The America I want to live in is where we have a balance.
Exactly. And do you think this is going to be a destruction to the Republican Party at all?
No.
Democrats are going to...
No. The Republicans are they're a very brilliant group.
Okay.
I mean, all of them don't go to Yale and Harvard for nothing. I guess most of the Democrats are coming out of Harvard, most of the Republicans coming out of Princeton and Yale.
Okay.
But they're very brilliant. They're on track because they're tapping into the sense in American society that something's wrong. See, America has been pushing change, right? Well, it was pushed change from Obama, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we didn't get much change from Obama.
No.
So they tapped into that. And they're on the right track. They're doing some great things. But I don't think that this is going to get them, swept out of office. I mean, Obama, as I've always said, Obama is doing a great job keeping the Republican Party in office. I think he should have ran for RNC chairman, but hey, who has done more in the last 2 years for the Republican Party inside of President Obama? He's done a great job for them. It's not like he would be the first RNC chair they had that was African American descent. He'd be the second. Yeah. So they've already broken the milestone, so just go ahead and get him.
You're right. All right, well, I appreciate your time.
Right,
Thank you for everything.
All right.